In this video, we're going to show you to install the fuel pump module on your Volvo S60 located under the rear seat. Now, underneath the hood here, you're going to go ahead and locate the fuel rail. And right here is a Schrader wearing safety glasses. We want to go ahead and depressurize this here. Now, this is going to look like a little valve stem on a wheel. Use our pocket screwdriver and a rag, and what we're going to do is we're going to press down in the center and depressurize the fuel system. And that's it. We press down in the center, and our rag just absorbed any of that pressure there. Go ahead and install that cap. Now, moving into the trunk, we want to go ahead and lift up this back panel, accessing the battery. And we want to disconnect the ground terminal here. Use our 10mm wrench. You can use a wrench or a ratchet, whatever you have. Loosen that, wiggle that free, and set that aside. Now, in the back here, we started by moving both the driver and passenger seats as far forward as possible as we could. Now we're going to go ahead and pull up on our lower seat bottoms in the back. You're just going to reach around to the front, right where it wraps around to the carpet, and pull up. Pull the seat cushion out and set it aside. Inside the trunk area, you want to go ahead and locate the back seat backrest release. Pull that. Let's go ahead and fold down that seat. Go ahead and fold this down. Now I want to go ahead and remove this cushion right here. So what we're going to do is slide our seatbelt up out of the top. Pull it out towards you and then lift it up. There's a little mounting tab on the base here that inserts into a bracket on the chassis. And coming to the back seat area, there's going to be a gray connector right here we need to disconnect. Let's go ahead and do that. Going to press in on this little tab. Now we're going to use our 13mm socket, loosen and remove this bolt right here. Let's go ahead and flip our seat up. Now what we're going to do is take this seat back. We're going to lift it up and then pull it towards the passenger side. And let's go ahead and remove this from the vehicle. On the passenger side, we have this bracket right here, and we have our two seatbelt connections right here. We're going to use our 15mm socket to loosen and remove these two bolts for this here. Flip this down, take this out. And lift up on our insulation pad here. Now what we want to do is basically kind of maneuver this insulation pad up and out of the way. Now on the back driver's side here, we are going to be exposing the fuel here, and we don't want to drip any fuel onto the carpet. We're just going to go ahead and lift up on this little button right here, and then we want to pull this carpet out. You can roll it back, tuck it, whatever you got to do, but we just don't want to get fuel on this carpet. On the driver's side, let's go ahead and loosen and remove this cap here. It's going to be 4 10mm nuts holding this. We're going to be reusing this, so go ahead and get these in a place that you can remember where they are, and go ahead and peel that cover off. On the passenger side rear, we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove these 4 10mm nuts. Pull that cover off. Set that aside. Save those 4 nuts. We'll be reusing those later. Our next step is to go ahead and clean up the work area. You may have dirt and debris on top of both of these units, as well as on the seat pan itself. We want to make sure that we don't get any debris inside the tank when we remove these components. Let's go ahead and turn on the machine. Those key things we need to pay attention to here when we're removing the driver's side component. We have the arrow facing towards the back of the car. Now we have a lock ring right here. We need to loosen and remove. We're going to do that counterclockwise. Now in most cases you can use a punch on something like this here, a brass punch. We want to go ahead and loosen this. I want to try and get a tool on these tabs here. Now you do want to make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area because we're now exposing the fuel system. Go ahead and remove that ring, set that aside. I'm going to pull up on this unit here. There's this yellow connector right here that needs to come off of the bottom of our sender. I'll show you how we remove that in just a second. We want to get this up and out. You're going to pull this float up and out of here. And then we have this harness right here, has these 2 black wires going to it. You're going to pinch on here and separate this. And set that aside. Now as far as that yellow connector goes, let's go ahead and pull this up and out. This little tab right here on the top, all you have to do is simply push down on that little center tab and it'll slide right off of the unit. Now the next thing you want to do is this whole unit, this harness, needs to come out on the passenger side. You want to go ahead and use some twine or some sort of wire. We're going to use some wire, thin gauge wire here, and we're simply going to tie this off because you want to go ahead and feed that back through. So what we're going to do is you tie this off, pull it through, and that's going to feed your wire through to the other side. Then you can take the new harness, tie it onto the new harness, and then simply pull the wire, and it's going to feed it through the tank for you. Drop that down inside. Now on the actual fuel pump assembly right here, we have a few different connections we need to undo before we pull that unit out. Now once again, you want to pay attention to the directional area of this here. We have a hose running off to the passenger side rear door, the other one facing towards the back seat or back of the front seat. The unit also has an arrow on the top here facing the back of the car. So make sure you pay attention to that. Now let's go ahead and disconnect the electrical connector here. On this here, there's going to be a push tab on this side. You're going to push in and pull that off. Get that out of the way. We have a harness, tuck that off to the side. Now we have these 2 units here. Now we did depressurize the system. There still may be some fuel and pressure in here. So make sure you're wearing safety glasses when you do this. You're going to press in on this little tab right here on the top and then pull this off. I am going to put a rag over the top. I do not want to get any pressure sprayed in my face. Now you might need an assist of a screwdriver or something here to press down on that clip. And there it is, it just released. Minimal amount of fuel pressure, perfect. Let's go ahead and do the same over here. Wonderful. A little bit of fuel is to be expected. There's no way around that. Get those hoses out of the way. Our next step, go ahead and grab your tool here. This is spring loaded, so you're probably going to want to push down on this. I want to remove that collar. Now at this point here, it's just a game of getting stuff out around these fuel lines. Pop that off. Okay. Now we're gonna pull this out, and it's gonna have a whole bunch of wires and hoses running over to the other side. Also gonna have some connections we need to pay attention to. Get that out of the way. Now you are going to spill some fuel. It's to be expected. We have a fuel catch can to put our unit into. Now as you're pulling this up, there is a float on the side here and it runs down, so we have to pull this up and tip it out. That's where you're going to have your fuel loss right there. All right, so at this point here, as you're pulling this out, you're going to be pulling that wire with it out of that passenger side. And there you have it. And don't forget, when you pull out the unit, you want to go ahead and replace the O-ring in here. So go ahead and pop out this O-ring. Make sure that the groove in here is clean. And then you want to install the new O-ring. Make sure that's fully seated. Now the next step is pretty critical. You want to pay attention to this here. When installing this unit, you need to make sure that you hold this tight up against the base. You don't want this to fall out. So when we tip this in, we need to tip that in first. I want to go ahead and get our wire harness tucked in here, and then go to the other side and start pulling this through. Okay, we have that out over there. Okay. Tuck that in a little bit, give us a little bit of flexibility here. All right. Hold that sending unit, make sure those fuel lines are out of the way. There we go. There we go. Now our positioning is good. Remember, arrow pointing towards the back, line to the passenger side, line to the front. And then we have our other line already pulled through over here. So that's perfect. Let's go ahead and install our lock ring over here. I do want to make sure that this is good and snug. All right, that's good and tight. Line up those fuel lines and push those on. You can hear them lock in a position. Go ahead and grab that harness, line that up, push that on. You can hear and feel that click. You want to make sure that the wiring harness is tucked into the gasket. Let's go ahead and install the other side. All right, let's go ahead and pull this up. Let's undo our harness here from our little wire here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this O-ring. Pull that out. I want to go ahead and clean the groove. Ours is really clean there. And then you want to go ahead and grab the new O-ring. Drop that down inside. You want to go ahead and get this unit ready to go. Remember, the arrow goes towards the back of the vehicle. So let's go ahead and pull that harness up. I'm going to install the connector right here. Feed this float down. It's going to head towards the front of the vehicle. And then we have this unit right here that slides right into this track. Push this down inside with that harness. Go ahead and grab that lock ring. And make sure that it's seated appropriately there, and then get to thread that down and in. Want to make sure that that sender tries to stay in appropriate position, and then snug it down. Make sure the gasket stays in place. Let's now install our covers. Make sure our gasket is seated. Good, line up our pan. You want to make sure that this section here that's raised goes over the section where there's any wires. It's very important. I'm going to go ahead and get these nuts started. Once you get these started, we're going to go ahead and snug them down. They're just going to be snug. They don't have to be super tight. When installing this here, you want to make sure that the raised portion covers the wires. You don't want the flat section over those there. Let's go ahead and get all of the nuts started. And then let's go ahead and gently snug those down. Now at this point, if you used any drip mats or anything to cover inside here, like we did, you can go ahead and remove these now. Now I want to go ahead and bring this carpet back around. Now we can bring our insulation pad down. Go ahead and get that positioned. Let's install our rear bracket here. Install the seatbelt. Next step is we want to install our seat back here. Now the inboard portion is going to have a pin that goes inside right here. It's going to come over and latch in right here and here. Now here's a little tip. If you're trying to get this seat and the pin lined up over here and it doesn't want to go, what you want to do is lift up on this seat here to get everything to line up. Push that in. That's going to insert there. Then we can go ahead and get the bolt put on the other side. Now you want to make sure that you locate your electrical connector here. Slide the seat back. Get this to line up. And then start your bolt. Tighten that down. Take that electrical connector, line that up, and press it in. You're going to feel in here it click into position. Now I'm going to insert the lower piece down into this bracket. Make sure you pull your seatbelt out. Then we can push this back and in, pulling that seatbelt around. Make sure you get that inside that notch. Push that seat back. Let's go ahead and feed our cushion in. Make sure the seat snaps into place. Now that we have our seat installed, we can now go ahead and connect the ground terminal on the battery. Inside the trunk, you want to go ahead and reconnect that ground terminal on that battery. Go ahead and tighten that down. Now once you get the trunk all set up here, you want to go ahead and hop into the vehicle. Turn the key to the on position a couple times, on and off, on and off. You want to prime that fuel system. At that point there, you can go ahead and start the vehicle and go for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.